let's go in here. I'm just going to use, I think I've been using the same one the whole time. So let's just go ahead and mark up what we have here, right? So I'm just going to put all this in a container, a main, right? And then I'm going to do the whole, and then I'll just do a section. Huh. Well, we'll do it a little different than them. Oh, I know why it's a row. Okay. Yeah. Because they're doing, see, they're doing like a container on top of a container. See that? All right. So we're going to do it a little different. I'm just going to do H4, or actually I'll do H3. What is that? Tech, education, redesigned, right? Then I'll do a paragraph. Just give it a quick class so we can style it later. So I got this, and then I'm going to put this as a row for myself. So div row, and I'm going to have 3 divs within it. Sorry, what? Just and just in case, I'll give it like a 1/3 class just in case. So then H3, get started. H3, learn and build. And another H3, share your work. All right. Now, if I reload this page, well, first off, you see that they all display across, right? And that's because earlier we weren't very specific because we were just doing the header and we said container display flex. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just give this a class of flex. And I'll create another rule. Oh, that was not right. And there was somewhere else I had container. Anybody see what changed when I did that? Why it's doing that? Should have been more specific earlier on. Oh, I forgot to save the HTML. All right, there we go. All right, so first things first. I did header. Nope, didn't do header. Main, I gave the section a class of container, where really, you could then do another container inside of that to make it even skinnier. But what we can do, just to save time for now, you would want to be more specific, just like we saw the negatives of not being specific earlier. But what we could just do is say, main, any container that's inside a main to make it skinnier. So let's see how. They have like 670, we'll just say for ease. I'll give it a little padding. Everybody understand that? Makes sense? Boom. So we keep it nice and close together. Since we're not going to do any other, building on this page, I'm just going to say main text align center, so it aligns all the text in the center. It's not the page. All right, so then we want to display each of these as equal thirds across the page, right? So what element do we want to give a display flex to? What are these divs? What are these divs parent element? They're each classified. They're each a class of 1/3. What is their parent element? Row, right? Okay. So we'll do dot row display flex. All right. So a couple things here. I'm not really sure why it's not doing them equal parts. So let's check it out. Let's give that 1/3, each 1/3. Let's give it a flex grow of 1. See if that changed anything. So that doesn't change anything. We can go check out flex basis. Where are you at, flex basis? And check out this graphic. So what this graphic's showing is that so flex basis by default is auto on all of those child elements, okay? What this graphic shows is that if you do it to 0, the flex grow property we give it, then it does it up based, it does the sections spreading out along the main axis based on the entire element, right? Versus like the width from the text to the end. Does that make sense? So let's change this flex basis to 0.
Can you put a border around it so we can see?
Yeah, of course. Good call. Boom. Say what?
After solid, do exclamation point important.
Yeah, good call. There we go. That exclamation point important is one way to override like specificity, just saying like, hey, you have to do this. That way it's not getting overwritten. But now you can see they're each equally 1/3. Another way, I mean, I guess you could do it, speaking out loud here, but I'm assuming this would work, is if you just did flex. Let's see if this will work. If you took out flex grow and did flex basis 33, 33%. So that would work as well, right? Remember, because flex grow is naturally set to 0, and flex basis is a way to give it its its explicit width, right? Does that make sense? So by giving it a flex basis of 33% for each, then it says, each one's 1/3 of the page. Does that make sense, guys?
What would you do to make the text further apart from column? Something like spaced?
You mean like between like these?
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so if we want, well, first we need to, if we turn border box sizing, because a box comes outside a border, right? Box sizing border box on, and then we did padding, right? It would push it in, right?
You
Yeah,
can set flex basis 30% and space, and then above justify content space between.
Yeah, true. Yeah, you could do that as well.
Spaces in the middle there between each one.
You see what he's saying? He's saying if you set border basis, flex basis to 30%, right? So each combined, they'll take up 90% of the page, or 90% of the container, right? And then you set, what is it, justify content?
In the doc columns.
Right, justify content, right? To space between, right? So it'll give equal space in between them. So it'll take that 10% and divide it equally. That's another way to do it. No, it's justify content, and it's because justify content, remember, is on the main axis, and it's space between. So whatever space there is left, they'll distribute it equally. So we can just check that out just to see it. And then we have to go to row and say justify content. All right, see that? So I'm assuming 5%, 5%. So right here. We took the flex basis for 1/3, made it 30%, so there's going to be 10% left over, so space between 5%, 5%. So a couple different ways to do that. And then the rest is just, we could design the text properly, right? And then bring in those icons from Font Awesome. But the main thing I want to get across is the layout, because the rest you can do that nice and easy, straightforward, right? Well, let's walk through it, just to make sure. Let's say, what do we have? An H2 and H3. Say. Font family, sans serif. And someone give me some stuff, some code, the right styling for that H2. Anybody have it?
The H3, I think, is like 30 pixels.
Or H3. Font size, 30 pixels. Okay. Or probably a font weight of like 600, I'm guessing. Something a little bold. Yeah, font weight bold. There you go. Font weight bold. We'll give it a little padding. Padding top and bottom. 20 pixels. I'm just guessing here, right? And then that paragraph or the class of lead, we'll say is font size 20 pixels, and font weight light, or 100. And then we'll give it a padding bottom of 20 pixels. See how we're looking.
It's more like 25 pixels on font size.
Font size 25?
Yeah,
On which one?
on all the H3.
H3. Little lighter text color too. Stop me if any of this is not making sense. Maybe not that light. What's a darker gray like that?
222.
222. Let's go. All right, and then these actually, I'm going to change these to H4. Well, I'll just target them by saying 1/3. Any H3 and 1/3 is a font size of 20 pixels. Make it a little smaller. All right. And all right. So for the most part, we've made the layout look the same. We could put in that icon from Font Awesome, and style those correctly if we wanted. Does anybody have questions on that layout? Anybody not understand exactly what we did there? Okay, talk to me.
I understand doing the font box, the big one, but one's the 3 inside.
Yep.
On mine, I have them in a column.
Right.
3 on the bottom.
You have them flex display and then flex direction column.
Yeah, but it's still in a row. So I think I might just have a personal question. I'm just struggling with that concept.
It might be just like a line in your code because we weren't very specific earlier, right, on the CSS. So like we shouldn't have these, like you're talking about like within here, right?
Yeah.
Like these are laying next to each other. Right. So we shouldn't do flex on these because they're block elements. So an H3 and a paragraph are block elements, so they're naturally going to have line breaks in between them. So we don't have to do flex on them. Does that make sense? And then I'll come look at your code real quick. Actually, let me get y'all started on the next challenge. I'm going to push that. Challenge 5. All right, all I want you to do here for this 6th challenge right here is make that blog template like we did, was that yesterday, right? Where, you can just give it, you can just give each one, the main and the aside, like 700 pixels tall, but I want you to make it so that, there's a blog template where there's a main section that's 70% and there's an aside that's 30%, okay? So we'll give you 20 minutes on that.